Alright, so there's our claps. So, my name is John Waldman. I'm 19 years old. I go to Towson University. I'm from Port Washington, New York. My first skateboard I got a Rocket Power skateboard from Walmart. Probably costed like 15 bucks. It was the summer going into 6th grade, and it was totally a piece of shit, you know. It was all ruggedy and crappy, but then beginning of 6th grade, I remember I took a trip to New York City with my friend Andrew, who wound up becoming the kid that I wound up skating the most. He was like my best friend. So I bought that skateboard. It was Element Bam Margera. Had the independent truck, Spitfire wheels, Reds bearings. I'll always remember that setup. I still have the board. It's in my basement now. And from there, I never really looked back. That's really where my skating started. When I first started, obviously when you start something new, you suck at it. You don't know how to do it. You don't have any skills, but I just loved the feeling of pushing the skateboard, the way, like, just the speed from it. It just felt real good, and it just gave me like a crazy adrenaline rush that nothing else really gave me. Like, when I was younger, I tried other sports like soccer and baseball, but it never really did it for me. I was never the most athletic kid, so then when I picked up a skateboard, I knew that was for me. It was something that I picked up, and I started progressing pretty fast, and it was real enjoyable. And so yeah, and all the local skaters would come down. They'd bring all their ramps and rails, and I remember seeing like all these older kids just doing like kick flips and like hitting these rails and like all these crazy tricks. I'm just like, holy shit, like this is amazing. Like I want to be able to do that. And at that time I never thought I'd be able to do that, and then now I'm here today at 19 years old, and I would not think that my skill level of skateboarding I would never think I'd be able to get to this level I am now. No, the only thing that mattered was we were going out, we were skateboarding, and that was all that mattered. We'd skate till it gets dark. The funnest times in my life were nothing else mattered but skateboarding and learning new tricks and going to new places. One guy, Jeff Rowley, who's a really talented pro, he loves like pushing real fast and just like doing everything fast as fuck, and like that day I just got real hyped on just going fast. So there's this hill right next to my friend Will's house. So I decided that I'm going to be Jeff Rowley, and I'm going to push down this hill and try to go like 100 miles an hour. Not actually 100 miles an hour, but go fast as fuck. And that ended up being not the best decision. So I'm pushing down this hill. Then all of a sudden my board starts to like wobble and shit. My trucks wobble, and I think I caught the back of my foot like on the wheel. Next thing I know, I slam back, and I smash my head. Like I honestly don't know what happened. From the second I hit my head, like I don't know what happened. Like everything just kind of went blank. And from what my friends told me, that I was going fast as shit, and I was booking it down the hill. Then I fell back, and like I was probably sliding for like at least 5 to 10 feet. Hit right here, direct contact. I wasn't wearing a helmet, and yeah, that was pretty bad. And my friends told me they got me up. They were obviously scared as shit. Like I just smashed my head. They got me up. They brought me into my friend Will's house, which was right next to it. And that's when I'm sitting in Will's house, that's when I started to remember things. Like I remember starting to question me, like asking me like who the president was. I had no idea. They were asking me like the stupidest questions that like any person should be able to answer. But I was so whacked out. I hit my head so hard that it was just like I had no fucking clue what was going on. And like they asked me like, I recently got braces. They're like, John, you know you got braces? And I was just like, I remember like I looked into my mouth, and I was like what the fuck? Like when did this get here? I had no idea. It was like someone dropped a brick on my brain or some shit, and I just like lost all my memory. And then I'm sitting in the living room. My friends called my dad, which I couldn't imagine what that must have been like, having to like call like a parent, be like, oh yeah, your son fucked up his head, like God knows. So before he comes, I'm like, Will's mom like gives me like this bowl because I was starting to feel queasy. I remember I was sitting on the couch and I was like, I want to go to sleep, and Carol, she was like, no, you gotta stay up. I'm like, okay. And like I told her I wasn't feeling too good, so she gave me like a bowl, and I just puked right in the living room, and it was just disgusting, and it was like brownish red, and what I found out was it was all from the internal bleeding in my head. I was puking it up. So then my dad arrives. He gets me in the car, we're driving, and I'm like, I think I was like, I'm sorry, Dad, like, I fucked up, like, he's like, no, like, shit. He's like, no, like, fucking shit happens. I don't really remember what he said, but I remember I wasn't feeling good, I was sad, like, at that time, I was confused, I didn't really know what was going on, so, we get to this hospital, I'm waiting in the waiting room, and I'm feeling like shit again, and, like, I tell my dad, and I get a bucket, and I start puking in the waiting room with, like, at least 20 other people, and I remember it was just the shittiest feeling of not knowing what's going on and, like, puking in front of everyone. I was like, oh, I feel disgusting, like, this is horrible, like, I just didn't want to, I wanted to get out of that, like, state of mind, like, I wanted my brain back, I wanted to, like, have all my, like, motion and just know what the fuck was going on. So, then they bring me to this room, I'm on the bed, and they start, like, attaching all these wires and shit, and I'm sitting here just all looped out, like, what is going on? Like, what the hell? And then, like, we find out that we were at, like, the wrong hospital. I think it was, like, only for kids, or I honestly don't even remember what it was, but we had to go to another place, so I'm sitting up on this, like, bed that was pretty high up, and they bring in this stretcher, and they had to put me from one bed and, like, move me over to the stretcher. And I remember for some reason that was just like the hardest thing to do, and I don't know why. I think it was just like it was hurting my head or something, but that was like a really hard task at the time, and I just don't know why. So they stretch me out. I'm sitting in the stretcher. They bring me into the ambulance, and then now I'm in the ambulance. I think my mom was in there, and I'm just sitting there like, how the hell did this happen? And then I had a fracture in my skull. Kind of, now that I think of it, that sounds pretty fucked up. That doesn't sound good. But yeah, so I fractured my skull, and there was talk about possibly getting a metal plate inside my head, and that kind of like freaked me out. I didn't want to have a metal plate in my head. Healed naturally, like I didn't have to get a plate in my head, and I was pretty thankful for that. I feel pretty lucky because that was a pretty severe injury, and I kind of just walked out like fine. Like I don't know what it is. My mom thinks it's because I never met her parents before, but she thinks her parents are, like, watching over me. So, I don't know. Maybe they just didn't want me to have a metal plate in my head, so they helped me or something like that. Yeah, so I was there for a few days, and then I got out. And then that's where my life totally changed, for sure. Just, like, totally, that changed everything. So, now it's, like, every single time I put my foot on a skateboard, I think about the risks. I think about, like, if I fall and hit my head again, like, I could have, like, even worse, like, brain damage or, I don't know, but it's like, just think about the risks. Now it's like, something like that happens, and it's like, you don't want to put yourself in a situation where, like, you could, like, seriously, like, permanently fuck yourself up or really screw yourself over, like, and, like, after, I was home for a couple of months, and I was really took time to, like, step back and think. I'm like, do I really want to put myself in this situations? Like, I thought, like, after then, like, my skating definitely, like, I think it definitely changed now. Like, if I was going to, like, a new, like, rail or a new set of stairs, I'd always second guess myself. I'm like, oh, I don't want to hit my head, and, like, so then it's always in the back of my mind, like, I don't want the same shit to happen again. So I try not to take as many risks, I guess. Now, obviously, I just don't like going fast as shit. Like, I'm just scared to hit my head. Like, that's a given. But, like, I'll always try to, like, have complete control over what I'm doing and only do something that I feel like I have the skills and the capabilities of doing. I love, like, learning new tricks and just going on different obstacles and just doing something that I've never done before is just, like, it's a totally great feeling that's, like, can't really compare it to anything else. It's, like, if you're, like, trying the same trick over and over again for hours, you know, you might fall 100 times, you might hurt yourself, get a little bloody, get nice and sweaty. Once you finally land that trick, it's just the greatest feeling. Skateboarding, it's, a lot of it, it's just a mind game, really. It's, you could really do anything you want to do, and this is not just with skating, this is in your life. You could do whatever you want to do, you have to go out and go do it. Skateboarding is just a crazy mind game. It's like you're playing a battle versus yourself almost. Like I said, you'll try a trick a bunch of fucking times, over and over and over again. But then you get that one time where you're like, something in your brain clicks. I don't know what it is. Somewhere in your brain it's located, and then all of a sudden you land it, and it's just like, what the fuck? Like, that was sick. Like, I don't really know how to really put it in words, but it's definitely like, most of it's a mental thing. You gotta tell yourself in your mind, like, I could land this trick. You can't go into it and be like, oh, like, I don't know, dude. And it's like the same thing with anything else. You gotta be confident with yourself, and if you're confident and you have the right state of mind, I really feel like you could do anything with skateboarding, with anything else. So I think like that mindset of skating has definitely helped me become like a better person, more confident. Like, so if I know I could do something like on a skateboard, like, I feel the same way. If I feel like in life, if I could do something, I'm gonna go out and fucking do it. Once I have that like mental power in my brain, whatever it is. So I've been a very music-oriented person my whole life. A lot of my musical influence comes from my parents. So when I was younger, I used to be all about like punk rock, like the Ramones, and they're like harder stuff like AC/DC. Like that's like what I lived for. I was all about that. I never took lessons. I self-taught myself everything. So I have that. I think that's pretty cool. Like, with my friends, we're usually jamming, except for sometimes we'll get in like our metal stages where we're feeling a little grungy, or a little bit more pissed off that day. We'll play some metal, but I don't know. But yeah, I'm John Waldman, 19 years old, from Port Washington, New York. What really got me into skateboarding was, seeing all the kids in the neighborhood skating around, and I was just in amazement. Like, they'd be doing they'd flip the board, and I was like, whoa, how the hell did they do that? And I was just amazed by it. And so eventually in sixth grade, I bought my first skateboard. I remember it. I still have it. It's an Element Bam Margera. I still have it to this day, and I had that thing for so long. And right at that point, it was just like, that's when my skateboarding really started. Right away, it was definitely like the speed that you could get on a skateboard. That was just like the coolest feeling ever, being able to like push and just like, it's just like a feeling I can't really explain. It's just like you like going through the air and you feel the air and the wind like just blowing on you, and it's just like, I don't know. I just loved it, and it always gave me like a crazy like adrenaline rush, and I loved that adrenaline. Like I don't know. I played other sports when I was younger, like a little t-ball or like baseball, a little basketball and soccer, but skateboarding really gave me like an adrenaline rush that I just absolutely loved. And there's just like the feeling of like landing a trick that you try for so long, and once you finally get it, it's just the greatest accomplishment. It's just like, it's the best feeling ever. Like, nothing really compares to it. There's nothing more satisfying than landing a trick that you've been trying for hours and hours. There'll be lots of blood, sweat, and maybe some tears. Well, maybe not tears, but it's just continually trying something over and over and over again. You keep falling, you might get hurt, but once you finally land it, it's just that feeling. You can't really describe it. It's just the best feeling ever, because you've just been trying for something for so long, and then you finally land it, and it just puts the biggest smile on your face. And that's just what has kept me skating, because I love that feeling. I love learning new tricks. I love, trying new things and just getting better in general. Progressing is just the best part. It's what made me continue to drive to get better at skateboarding. One morning we got Dunkin' Donuts. We went back to my friend's house. We were watching skate videos of Jeff Rowley, and he loves to push really fast, and that day I was getting all hyped on going fast. So I decided I'm just going to push down this hill, which was right next to my friend Will's house. So my friends go down. Actually, no. I went down first, and I'm pushing, and then next thing I know, I get like speed wobble, which is basically like my trucks start to go like all crazy on my board, and they like start wobbling, and I'm going so fast I don't have control of my skateboard. So that happens, and my friends told me I think my foot like caught the back of my wheel or something. I don't even know what happened, but I just like slipped back. I hit this part of my head. Apparently I slid for like 5 to 10 feet, and after that I just don't know exactly what happened. He kept asking all these basic questions, and I was like, I was completely out of it, and I was kind of more confused. I wasn't even like scared or like, oh, my head hurts. I was just like, I was so out of it. I was just all loopy, and I barely remember. It was just weird. And then so we get to the hospital, and then I'm in this new place. For the first day, I was just puking blood, and it was just awful. I finally was able to fall asleep, I remember, and then I wake up and I look and see my whole pillow is just drenched in blood, and I was just like, what the fuck, what the hell is this? Like, how did this happen? And then they told me it was like I had a really bad nosebleed because of all the internal bleeding. So today that was just like all the puking and all the blood. It was just really bad. And then once, I think, and I had like a lot of time to like sit down and really reflect on like what I'm really gonna do with my life. Like, cause at the time it was like skating was pretty much everything to me, and then now it's like, holy shit, like I just got a really bad injury. Like, I can't let that happen again. So I feel like after then, like, I obviously am still skating today, but I don't have the same like, what's the word I'm trying to think? I feel like I don't take as many risks as I used to. Like, I'm not gonna huck myself down a set of stairs or like try to hit a big rail. So I'm just like, I like to, stay relatively close to the ground, maybe skate a ledge or some sort of bank or like ramp or something. Decided like I have all this free time, let me start to play guitar a lot more. And that's really where my love and passion for music, it really started right there. Ever since then, I've definitely a changed person. It's just, I had like 3 months where I was supposed to just stay inside and not do anything. I was pretty bummed out because I couldn't skate, and that was everything to me at the time. And so I was just sit inside my room, plug in my electric guitar, and go on YouTube and search tutorials of like a bunch of different songs, and a lot of songs I probably still play today. I love to play guitar. Playing by myself is fun. Learning new stuff is great, but when you're able to add other pieces like drums or bass, it just sounds so much better, and it's so much more fun because you have someone on the drums keeping a beat, and then I'll come in and start playing some guitar, and then you got the bass coming, and it just sounds so much better. So yeah, that's how it started then. And then now I recently was like asked to join a band, it was all like my roommate's friends, Curtis, who plays guitar, Seth, who plays bass, and Evan, who plays drums. They asked me to like come in and play for their band, and so now I started playing in a band with them, and it's just real fun. Satisfaction is like, it's landing that new trick, the one you've been trying for so long, and it's just the greatest feeling ever. I get that same feeling when I play guitar and I learn a new song, or like I learn a part of a solo and I'm bending the string a certain way, and just get that sound that's just like, you get that same feeling. It's just like, oh, it just sounds so great. Same thing with skateboarding. You get a new trick, and it's just the greatest feeling ever. You're just so stoked. And same thing with the guitar. You learn a new song, like a song you love, you never thought you could play it before, but then you play it, you learn it, and it's just like, it feels great. It's the same kind of just awesome feeling you get, whether it's learning a new skateboard trick or learning a new song on the guitar. It's just that same like feeling that just makes me so happy. Landing a new trick on a skateboard after trying it for so long, and you finally get it, just a wonderful feeling. You're just so happy, and I get that same exact feeling with the guitar when I learn a new song or a part of a solo, or just something as simple as like bending my string a new way, or like doing a little hammer on, just something new that I haven't done before. I get that same satisfaction out of it. Style of music and my style of skateboarding, I definitely could see I could connect the both of them. Music, I like a lot of like jam bands, very like jammy stuff go on. You can hear solos for 10, 20 minutes. I like to, with my skateboarding, my style of skating definitely changed. Before my injury, I was all about learning every single trick and just trying everything. But then after then, I kind of like took a step back and wanted to change it. And now I feel like I really try to focus on my style of skating and try to like make myself like look good, not like what I'm wearing, but like actually like look like it's effortless. Like I'll do a trick and it looks like I'm not even trying. So then I kind of have that, with my music. I guess it's kind of like it's very free. Both of them are very like, there's no rules with music. Like my style of music that I like, jam bands, there's no rules. They could go on, play whatever they want, and like you said, go right back into the song. You're like, oh, and same thing with skating. I'll start trying new tricks that I've never tried before, something like just like really random, like do like little no complies or just silly little tricks that like you wouldn't really think about every day. I like to try to be unique with my skating, maybe something a little bit more technical with, with like, I'll do like, this one trick I really like to do is like a switchboard slide to 50-50 and like 180 out or shove it out. And that, I guess I could consider that pretty technical and something a little different, and that's what I like, with my music. Jamming, it's always different. You're never going to get the same thing. Same thing with my skating. I'll always do something different. I like to always change it up.